All right, I wanted to show you guys how we were going about preparing our 5-gallon jugs for our syrup station. We went with these 5-gallon jugs because we figured some of our syrups would be popular enough to fill all the way up, so we didn't have to refill. And then some of our less popular, we would just do them maybe halfway. This gives us the option to decide if we need to change that as our year goes on, depending on what we're seeing happening here. Now you can see I finished a bunch of these already. In order to get a flavor station to work, you really need a few important things. You need to hold your syrups, and then you need to get your syrups from your holding container to wherever your dispenser is. We'll show you the dispenser on our food trailer in another upcoming episode, but we decided to go with these 5 gallons as well because we like these lids here, the fact that they came threaded on the inside. Now I'll leave you a link to these 5-gallon jugs. If you want to get these, you can. This was through Snowy. I think this is 1 inch here, threaded. Not exactly sure, I don't quite remember. But it was perfect for us because we were able to find a fitting right here. Actually, we got 2 fittings here. That fit perfectly in there. And then, of course, this barbed fitting here, which we can put our hose on, and then a clamp would fit perfectly here. So within just these 2 fittings, we can go straight to our hose right here, which is a 5/16, at least the outside diameter is 5/16, 3/16 inside diameter. But I wanted to go ahead and show you how I put these pieces on here. So the first thing we need to do, of course, you can see here is there's a solid plastic there, so we need to go ahead and drill that out. This is what I'm using. Listen, if this isn't the correct type of drill for this, it is what it is. It works, you know what I mean? This is a 5/8 here. It puts a nice hole in there, and then of course you do have to sanitize these after you're done, but you can see how simple this is. Just going to drill in. I like to go slow at this point, just to let the drill do its thing. And you can see that hole there, nice, perfect looking hole. Okay, next thing we really like these jugs for was this top area. It has a little cap here, and it has this spot here which we thought was perfect to put a vent hole in. So of course, as your syrups are going out, you need a way to make sure that air is able to go back in to your holding container. Of course, you could just drill right on the top, but if you do that, that's going to make mixing these things more difficult. We like to mix them right in here, and we needed a cap to make sure that it wouldn't go all over the place. So this top was perfect. So you're going to need to put a little drill hole here as well. See that? That is going to go ahead and allow air to get in there. And then when you're mixing it, you just cap that right off. Now, I am getting plastic inside these containers. Really very important before you mix any syrup in any of these containers is that you sanitize them very well. Especially if you're going to be putting preservative or citric acid in there. If you don't sanitize your containers, you know, that preservative and citric acid is going to have to work overtime to keep bacterial growth down. The cleaner you have these things in their initial use, the better you're going to be. So now we need to put these fittings on. So you're going to have to pipe thread these. This is the pipe thread that we're using right here. In order for this to work effectively, you need to make minimally at least 3 wraps around your thread. That's coming from the Blue Monster company themselves. However, I would suggest to you to do more than 3 wraps. Okay, you want to get it in there. You want to get it right in the threading, nice and tightly, so that it's getting inside those grooves. There are some individuals who would suggest that you should wrap this up and wrap into the grooves. I've never found that to be necessary. I've never had a threaded connection that's leaked because of this issue. But you're going to watch. I'm going to go around this way more than 3 times. I'm actually going to put enough of this in here that I want to make it so that I'm almost not seeing the threading, the bumps of the threading so much anymore. But it'll still go onto this fitting, right? You don't want to put so much on that it's not going to go onto the fitting. But you really do want to make sure that you put this on here so that it seals that connection up really, really, really well. Some of you might be thinking, that's too much. There's no way this is going to work. Well, it is going to work. You just stick this right here, and look at that. This goes on nice and smoothly. I'm going to make sure that my caps are closed, because obviously I want these fittings to face the direction that I would like them to face when they're done. And so now we're going to get this fitting threaded up as well. And when you thread these, you want the thread to end in a way where when you're tightening it, that you're not taking the thread off. So that is the way that I am threading this right now. This is the correct way if you want to take more time when you do it to make sure that you're threading right. You know what I mean. When you thread it on, you don't want the thread to be stripping off. You want it, the direction to be correct. And the same thing here. I'm going to be tightening this, wrapping this more than 3 times. Really getting this down in there into the grooves. I'm going to be using this for a full season. Maybe, you know, this probably would last multi-seasons. I have no interest in this not being done right. Now this one can take a little bit more to get on there, but you just want to make sure that it sits on right. And I've already got it in. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our wrench, we're going to tighten up our base connector first. Okay, that's good enough. You don't need to keep going until there's no more pressure on it. You can stop at a certain point. You don't need to thread it in all the way. This is good. Now we need to get this part to thread in more, but this is going to keep moving. So we're going to have to hold this. And yes, I'm using a plumber's wrench. No, you don't have to use a plumber's wrench. Why am I using a plumber's wrench? Because it was right next to me when I started doing this. So you're just going to keep tightening it up. You can see I'm getting a lot of pressure there. I'm going to pull it right into center, and that's going to be perfect for what I need. All right, so now we have all 10 of these on our 5-gallon jugs, and I know there's some people out there that may put in the comments, this is not how you're supposed to do this. There's way better ways to do this. Listen, go for it. If you have a better way of doing this, then go for it. This is what I have found for me to work out really well, and it solves a lot of problems that you need to solve in a very few amount of pieces of equipment here. In addition, keep in mind, none of this is pressurized, right? The only pressure you're going to be putting on these threads is going to be based on the volume of liquid you have in these containers and then the gravity pushing down on it. There is not going to be enough pressure ever to break the threaded seals that had been put onto these with the amount of pressure that I put in. However, I would always suggest that on your truck or trailer, keep some threaded tape and keep a wrench, right? Keep a couple of these units on there. You should always be able to have anything on hand. If anything, you know, you're going to get a little leak or something like this, and you're like, oh man, you know, it just, for whatever reason, something got in there and it's just not working right, you could fix one of these in minutes, maybe even 10 minutes you can get it done. But let's move on to the next important thing, because you're gonna need a shutoff valve. So no matter, you can't just connect your pipe from here to your dispenser, wherever your dispenser is gonna be. You cannot just connect it directly. You need to have a way to shut that off. So got to get yourself a shutoff valve that is going to work with the type of pipe that you have. And so this is the shutoff valve that I have. We'll leave a link to it. You could put this shutoff valve wherever you want. But for me, I want to put it right at the front. So this is going to be sitting on a shelf in my trailer. And I'm going to have this shutoff valve right here. And the reason I want it right in the front is because I want to be able to disconnect this entire thing from the rest of the unit. If I need to clean this, if I need to refill it, whatever, I can just disconnect this piece, and then I need to refill this, right? I could take this off. I could refill it with more syrup if I need to. If I'm getting a big rush and I'm just the blue raspberries going out, I could stick this right back on. Right there. This fitting is still going to be sitting on there, obviously. And then I'm going to go ahead and just connect the hose, with the hose that I took off, I'm going to connect it right back in. And this is a nice connection here. This is just a push connect. You push it right in, it holds on nice and tight. So you can see what we're going to do here is I'm going to push the hose onto here, and I'm going to leave a little piece about right there, and then I'm going to push connect this in, and that's going to be my connection. So let's go ahead and do that now. All you're going to need is a utility knife, and you're just going to have to cut this right in the spot where you're going to want to cut it. So we're looking at something right in here is going to be good. As simple as that. Now, pushing this onto these barbs is kind of tough. This fit here is a tough fit. You're going to even see me struggling to push that in. Matter of fact, I almost wish I had a glove to help me out. There we go. Just found a glove. And so I'm going to use this just to give me a little bit more strength. You can see that is on there tight. That is not coming off. Now the other thing I'm going to suggest too is to put a clamp on here. Now these are the only clamps I have laying around. This is not going to work well for this. This is simply too big. But you can use this type of clamp if you like. Just get a smaller one that will fit on there a lot nicer. You could also just use like a spring clamp too and just take it off. You don't need much here, but because I'm going to have this on here permanently, at least for a full season, using a clamp like this is not a problem. But if you don't want to use these again, use a different type of clamp. I do not have the size clamp I need for this right now, so I'm not going to be putting my clamps on yet. Unfortunately, I don't have the right one. So I'm just going to put this on here just to show you how easy it is to just push that right on, and that is it. This is seated on there. This is not coming off. And I can go ahead and open the valve up, close the valve, open. Actually, it's already open, and then close it. Perfect. And you can see that's going to sit right there and do its job. So now we got to do this for all the rest of these. All right, we're looking good. We only got one more left. I wanted to show you this. This is actually one that I split. Now, I split this not because, I mean, these are tight. You could see when I was pushing those on there. I was putting a lot of pressure to get that on. This is going to hold beautifully. But when I was moving this around in my trailer and I was, kind of maneuvering things, this piece got caught on some metal and I was pushing it and I wasn't realizing what I was doing, and it actually bent it and slid it. So something like that is possible. Again, keep this stuff on hand in your trailer. You should get used to knowing the way you design things and being able to fix it when you need to. But just to show you how easy this is to take off, these push clamps, you would just push this piece down and then this comes right off. And now you could just stick this piece right here on a new one. So if you ever had this, break or slit or anything like that, have extras of these all on hand, because you know something is going to happen somewhere along the line. No matter how much you prepare for it or what you put together, something's going to break. So we have all 10 of these done. Now, this is the tubing we're using here. All right, you get this at Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever. You get this online, whatever you want to do. And the last thing you're going to do, of course, is you're going to take this tubing and you're going to hook it in here. We can go ahead and hook it right in. And then it's going to go out to wherever your syrup station is. So this is going to be sitting on my shelf, and this tubing is going to go out to my spigots that are going to be outside of my trailer, and then that's it. So when I want to clean this, at the end of the night, right, I'm going to want to clean these. So I'm going to be able to just pull these right off, throw this whole thing right in my sink, clean out the whole line, right? And then I have this unit separate from this. So it's a really nice way to just separate the whole thing out. I will show you when I put all of this into my trailer what it looks like, the whole setup, the shelf, and how I have that all ready to go. But I just wanted to share with you just getting these units on and just the different equipment I was using to do it and the methodology I set up. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think about it? Is there a different system you're looking to do? This is what we did. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one.